Hello, I'm Jonasz Rewiński and you're watching Break the Fake. They make them, we break them, and tell you everything you need to know. Remember when Pope Francis stunned the world with a tone-deaf statement about Ukraine? Well, guess what? It happened again. A couple of days ago, the pontiff weighed in on the war in Ukraine, and boy, when the Ukrainian media and commentators got wind of it, they absolutely had a field day with this one. Picture this. Russia makes an illegal land grab of Crimea back in 2014 and sets the Donbass ablaze with so-called separatists. Then, in 2022, it attacks again, this time throwing tanks, missiles and whatever else they've got against Kiev and other major cities, failing to topple Zelensky's administration, but still committing countless war crimes even to this day. So, you would think that a major spiritual leader might condemn the brutal aggressor, because annexing territories and bombing hospitals isn't a very Christian thing to do, right? Well, you'd be wrong, because Pope Francis insists that right now the most important thing is forgiveness. The art of forgiveness is not easy, but we must keep moving forward and always forgive, said Pope Francis during a video call. Okay. So my question is this: how do you keep moving forward and forgive if the one thing moving forward right now is Russian troops and tanks in the Donbass? And the fact that there were Ukrainians asking questions during that video call, questions the Pope sometimes flat out dodged, certainly didn't help. For example, 27-year-old Yulia asked the Pope how he would bring peace if the Russians conduct genocide against Ukrainians. Again, a great moment to condemn the aggressor, but no. Instead, we got this, and I quote, "War brings famine. Every evening, I call the parish in Gaza, and they tell me they often go hungry. War not only causes famine, it kills." Yeah, war kills people. I thought they simply respawn like in a video game. In short, Ukrainians are furious, like, for example, Professor Roman Sheremeta, who simply called the pontiff, and I quote, "the Pope of the Kremlin." And believe me, this comment is tame compared to some other ones. But is anyone surprised anymore? In a world in dire need of spiritual guidance, the Pope's words are akin to a guidance system on a Russian missile, flying wild and hitting one of your own in another sad instance of friendly fire. Alright, let's talk about USAID. Everyone is hating on USAID, apparently. According to some comments, USAID has almost reached the level of disdain online normally reserved for UEFA. However, the question is this: is it all justified? Because the thing is, there is a distinct political slant to the comments, and it's not just unpleasant, but also often filled to the brim with fake news. Folks like Elon Musk may be hating on USAID, but that kind of makes you wonder, is it really that bad? And are those increasingly weird accusations even true? I mean, are there any dark schemes that USAID has not financed, at least according to far-right keyboard warriors? One example includes a story about Hollywood actors allegedly cashing in big fat checks from USAID for supporting Ukraine. Because totally nobody believes in compassion and charity nowadays, right? Ben Stiller, one of the stars accused of accepting money for a 2022 trip to Kiev, fired back against these accusations. "These are lies coming from Russian media," he said. And you know what? It's actually true. The story about cash-hungry celebrities can be found on a website called EA Daily, short for Eurasia Daily, ring any bells? Which wrote, and I quote, "Van Damme received $1.5 million, Ben Stiller $4 million, Sean Penn $5 million, Orlando Bloom $8 million. Angelina Jolie costs the most. She was paid as much as $20 million US. Writes Telegram channel MIG of Russia." End of quote. Yeah. That is the source. A Telegram channel seemingly named after a Russian fighter jet, which also has an "of Russia" in its name to hammer the point home. And now tell me, does this sound like a reliable source to you? In addition to that one, there was also a video which pretended to be from Entertainment Weekly. And guess what? Nobody at Entertainment Weekly recognized it, meaning we have a classic fake on our hands.
USAID sponsored American celebrity visits to Ukraine after Russia's full-scale invasion began. Angelina Jolie, $20 million. Sean Penn, $5 million. Jean-Claude Van Damme, $1.5 million. Orlando Bloom, $8 million. Ben Stiller, $4 million. This was done to increase Zelensky's popularity among foreign audiences, particularly in the United States. The involvement of celebrities made it easier to coordinate funding programs for Ukraine during the conflict.
So, yeah, totally a legit video from Entertainment Weekly. Also, when it comes to USAID, a dishonorable mention goes to some pundits who claim that the online community known as NAFO is about to collapse because it will no longer receive funding. Get this. A grassroots movement that fights Russian disinformation using memes, community notes and harsh words will now vanish because the lifeline has been cut. Also, imagine a USAID expenses bill that says office rental, $250,000, travel expenses, $150,000, memes with cartoon dogs hitting Putin with a stick, $2 million. We are all scratching our heads here in Langley, really, because all this is really a new CIA psyop, literally the new MK Ultra, with memes. My advice, don't believe everything you read on X. Vladimir Solovyov, the Kremlin's most unhinged talk show host, has once again graced us with his world-class legal analysis, this time calling for Russia to arrest the entire European Union. Yeah, all of it. Every single bureaucrat, every single politician, and probably also the janitors. Why? Well, because how dare they criticize Putin, the saintly liberator of, well, whatever is left of the Russian economy today? According to Solovyov, the European Union is, and I quote, a terrorist organization. Not because it actually bombs or invades countries, no, that is Russia's hobby, but because it dares to support Ukraine. Of course, according to Solovyov, defending oneself against Russian aggression is an act of terrorism.
Мы, в принципе, не должны признавать существование как организации Евросоюза. Мы там не входим, мы к этому не имеем никакого отношения. Мы признаем исключительно национальные государства. Мы должны выдать ордеры на арест всей той мелкой европейской сволочи, которая пытается преследовать нашего президента. Мы должны возбудить уголовные дела против Каи Каллас, Урсулы фон дер Ляйен, против всего чиновничьего аппарата Евросоюза, непризнанной де-факто террористической организации, спонсора терроризма, потому что они являются спонсором укронацистов. Мы должны признать их и их структуры нелегитимными.
And the best part? Russia, a country where independent judges are about as real as unicorns, will now start issuing arrest warrants for world leaders. Next up, Solovyov calls for Putin to be crowned the supreme emperor of mankind. Because at this point, I guess why not? Maria Zakharova, Russia's very own minister of crying over consequences, is at it once again. This time, she's outraged that the Russian propagandist from Komsomolskaya Pravda was not allowed to enter France. According to her, this is proof that freedom of speech in the West is a mirage. Yeah, that's the same Zakharova who represents a regime where journalists mysteriously fall from balconies if they report on something inconvenient. The same Russian foreign ministry that bans, censors and imprisons anyone who doesn't parrot Kremlin-approved talking points. And of course, Sergei Lavrov, the world's grumpiest diplomat, is surely standing by, ready to call it a Western conspiracy. Meanwhile, Russia continues its noble mission of spreading the truth through state-controlled media, bot farms and professional vodka enthusiasts on TV. The moral of this story: when Russia expels foreign journalists, it's national security. When the West does it, it's repression. And with this, we conclude this episode of Break the Fake. Please stay with us here on TVP World for more latest news and updates.